Hello and welcome to The Studio Demands It, an exercise in creative thinking where we will challenge ourselves to conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film based on the demands and stipulations from one of you fine listeners acting as a hypothetical Hollywood overlord.
Overlord.
Oh,
I'm trying out new stuff this
mixing
season.
it up with season 3, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we talk movies all the time.
Overlord. All the time.
All the time. And as filmmakers ourselves and avid cinephiles, we'd like to believe that we could meet the demand of any studio at least as well, if not better, than the screenwriters working under the restrictions and demands of the bigwigs fronting the bills in Hollywood. We will be your screenwriters for this episode. I am TC DeWitt, and joining me, as always, is Jim, the Modernalorian Burzelic.
That was terrible. That was great. That was perfect.
The Modernalorian. How has no one done that spoof?
That's actually a really good question.
Right? Like with all the vaccinations and all that and the popularity of the Mandalorian, how has no one done the Modernalorian?
Probably because we're not in a Mandalorian season right now, so everyone forgot. They're all thinking about WandaVision.
The WandaVision. I don't have like a pun.
There's nothing for it, yeah. There's nothing funny about it.
It's
fight, just serious.
The Pfizer and the Winter Soldier?
That's not bad.
Okay. The Modernalorian.
Yeah, Modernalorian.
I've said it.
I mean, yeah, I can see the sketch.
As always,
I can see it.
Dead alive, you're coming in with me.
But
you'll be alive.
But
vaccinated.
Dead or alive, you're getting vaccinated. No.
Whether you want it or not.
Oh God.
Sounds like a threat.
It does.
That's
a whole political thing. I don't want that vaccine. Well, they're putting them 5Gs in me. I'm already at maximum Gs.
They're coming. I am maxed out on the Gs, and I don't need any more. Look,
we're doing this accent. It's rude.
It's
to do this.
No, because that's not specific.
Northeastern accent.
It's the redneck accent, and the redneck accent, as David Cross taught us, is nationwide. Right?
It's true. We grew up in the upper Midwest, and we knew lots of people that talked just like that.
Just like that. I don't want that Modernas or the Pfizers or the Johnsons and Johnsons.
I'm from Manitowoc.
Really? Because I'm from Austin, Texas. That's so strange.
Yep.
Juneau, Alaska over here. How you guys doing? But seriously, the Mandalorian, he wore the mask all the time. Right? He never took it off. Yeah.
He did.
So I'm surprised.
That is the way.
No one did a Moderna.
No one did when we had all year for that.
We could have been doing.
Oh no, well we didn't have Moderna. We didn't know the term Moderna yet. So
that's right. Yeah, So like recently, so we're still ahead of the game right now.
We are.
Although
when this podcast comes out, we might not be.
Look, one of our goals on this show is to pitch ideas so well that people steal them from us.
It's true.
Right? That was an alternate title for this show when it was first conceptualized, was Steal This Idea.
It was.
Yeah. And we went with Studio Demands.
Yeah, because these are my ideas. You
can't steal these. Which is why previous season
can't steal a stolen man's stuff again.
Yeah, you steal from me once. Shame on you.
Me. Shame on you.
Shame on
steal from a stolen man again.
You won't be stealing from me.
We're just knocking them out of the park tonight.
And we're doing this. We're just warming up, getting back into the swing of things.
Season 3.
Thank you everyone who helped us end season 2 with massive new listenership. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Hopefully we don't let you down and you're not returning to this going, wait, I thought they were going to do more Justice League.
Where's more of that Justice League?
We will. You demanded enough.
I thought this show was 90s superheroes.
I fell into a freaking time warp.
Yeah.
I did not know 2 weeks went by. We recorded it, and I spent literally every day.
Oh yeah, I remember
scoring it and doing the sound design. That was a feature film, and it completely escaped me when I finally finished it, and I sat back in my chair and was like, whew. Oh, that took a couple days, didn't it? And then it was 13 days. It was it was nearly a day from 2 weeks where
it was 2 full days of work.
Oh
you did 48 hours of work.
I think I did more than that.
Actually, you might have. You might have done more than 48 hours.
That was a lot of fun. And we've gotten some great feedback from that, from you wonderful listeners out there.
You haven't told me a thing. You kept me in the dark this Hold on. As far as I know, no one listened.
People have been tweeting at Tubok Waxon constantly and be like, why doesn't he reply?
Yeah, that
did you? He just grabbed his collar with one finger and pulled it away from his neck and went and steam rose.
Yeah, no. that Twitter handle's dead.
That's dead.
It's dead. Twitter
season 3.
It's all messed up, and Twitter won't let me back on it.
So anyone who's been trying to reach out to Jim via Twitter,
we're probably spelling it wrong because even I had my roommate was finally like, Jim, what is the Twitter handle? And I went and looked it up, and the parts that I thought were numbers weren't. Like it was like reversed somehow.
Oh man. Well, is season 3 going to give us a new Twitter handle?
It might.
Okay.
I don't have
one.
Stay
tuned.
So we're going back to season 1 where I have no contact info.
If you want to contact Jim, you contact him through Studio Demands It.
Yes.
Well, let's jump into this, right? So we're starting big this season. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So our success as podcasters and screenwriters has given us this growing collection of demands from studios literally all over the world.
All over the world.
These studios are you listeners who have submitted your requests over at studiodemandsit.com, also where they can reach you. You can send us any demand you like. Remake a movie better than what we got. Give us a sequel that we never got. Make a film that should totally exist, which funny enough is today. All of those.
Excellent.
Yeah. And so give us a scenario and see what we do with it. And whatever you throw at us, we will have to come up with something on the spot with zero preparation, recorded live. And thank you everybody who has submitted through all the seasons. We seriously, as I've said, I think a couple episodes previous, we could do like 500 episodes at this point. So thank you. Please keep sending them in because it is a random draw. We have a nice like list of quick ones that might end up being an episode of like, let's do 50.
Yeah.
But Jim, what do we have today? We have had more than a few demands coming from a little franchise known as, I'm checking my notes here, make sure I get this right, Star Wars. Does that sound familiar?
I've never heard of it. Are you thinking of
Star Trek? Star Trek?
Space Battle?
Space Battle?
Space Fight.
Battlestar Galactica.
Space Fight with Murph.
Where are you going with this?
I don't know.
You're trying to come up with names.
I'm so good at improv.
Okay. We have gotten tons of demands. Not tons. Like we've got several demands for a Star Wars episode, right? From Jordan, make a better episode 9. From Butterfly Laura Studios, get us away from the Skywalkers and give us something more like The Mandalorian season 1, the Modernalorian. From
you buried a hint in the opening.
This is a great studio name from my other brother Daryl, who said,
that's good.
It's going to make billions whether it's good or bad, but it would be nice if it was good. So Star Wars, it's several more. So for today, I think we should take an amalgamation of all these demands and play in a galaxy far, far away, which we haven't done yet. We went 2 full seasons with ever touching Star Wars, which is crazy.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret here. It's not that crazy. I would bring it up once every 2 months,
and I would say,
and TC would go, nah,
not yet,
not yet. So this is actually planned. Don't let this is crazy fool you. This is the artifice and fabrication of the smoke and mirrors of Hollywood.
Stop showing
you are witnessing it right now.
You're watching how the sausage is made. Yes, it was a matter of like an oversaturation of Star Wars, especially when we were doing season 1, because we were in between. Season 1 was in between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, so everybody was doing Star Wars speculation, and it just felt like we were too inundated with Star Wars. What were we going to add? So what better time to do a Star Wars episode than after everyone cares?
I agree.
So Jim, our demand for this episode and the beginning of season 3 here is Craft episode 10.
Mm-hmm.
Currently in the canon, The Rise of Skywalker is the end of canon. There is nothing. Yes. There's like one short story called The Wills that they've released that canonically takes place after the end of Rise of Skywalker.
That seems like a bad idea.
But,
Okay.
But that's it. There's no Star Wars canon beyond Episode 9, which I don't know what that means. But that's that they bookended it with Episode 1. Like when Disney took over, they killed the ECU, the EU, and said, no, we're starting over. And canonically, it was Episode 1 to whatever they were doing.
EU means Extended Universe, not European Union.
Yes, correct. They killed the European Union. We're all going by inches and miles now. Let's do this. So canonically, it's Episode 1. There is a couple of prequel novels they've done with Obi-Wan and Count Dooku and a couple of other comic books and whatnot that take place within the current
that are considered canon?
That are canon. But for the most part, because it's the movies and the TV shows that are what get the most attention, Episode 1 is essentially where it all begins, with a few of those prequels as mentioned, and Episode 9 is where it's ends. So that is the extent of the Star Wars universe. Now, you have hinted that you have ideas for Episode 10.
I'm sitting here scrambling. I do. I had a whole thing planned. And now that you're like, and now's finally your chance to reveal Jim. Them to the world. I shall fall flat on my face and forget all of the ideas.
Which what makes this show fun is that we don't sit here. And I've lamented before the one time I had too much thoughts coming into an episode was Batman and Superman, and I have always regretted that, except for the fact that I want a t-shirt that says, I guess the studio just knew what they wanted, which was from you, Mr.
It was.
Who was it? My other brother, Daryl, said, whether it's good or bad, it's going to make billions of dollars.
It's true.
People can hate on Kathleen Kennedy all they want. Stick her and Brie Larson in a pyre and set them on fire. Doesn't matter. Billions of dollars have come out of this franchise.
Why'd we throw Brie Larson? She's not even connected to this franchise. Like, I know that people have problems with her. Why drag her into this episode?
Because I think the ridiculous hate towards Kathleen Kennedy is equal to the ridiculous hate to Captain Marvel.
Gotcha.
Specifically Brie Larson. So it doesn't matter whether we or you like what they did in Rise of Skywalker or Last Jedi or Force Awakens. It doesn't matter, because this is a business, and Kathleen Kennedy, as the overseer of the Star Wars and Lucasfilm, she has made billions of dollars.
Yep.
But you know what's better than $1 billion? More billions of dollars.
$1 trillion? Wait.
Hey,
good God.
If Disney ever made $1 trillion in a year, we'd have to rename the planet.
It's not quite. What was the name of the Matrix in Ready Player One?
Oh, the Oasis.
The Oasis. The Oasis, yeah. Because that made $1 trillion. In that movie, in that world, it made $1 trillion.
Why did you bring that movie up?
Because I said trillion, and so I thought of that. And then I felt I needed to reference.
Explain yourself.
I apologize.
Okay, so whether we liked Episode 9 or not, and I definitely have my issues with how they wrap that whole thing up, bringing Palpatine back, sort of invalidating anything that was really set up with any level of interest between 7 and 8.
Ooh, are we gonna have a little section here where we do a little rant about what we liked and didn't like?
I don't think
what we think they did right and wrong.
I don't think it's possible to talk about Star Wars without ranting. But this being the case, if our intention here, and based on some of the demands we've gotten, that's canon. We can't erase that unless we literally craft an Episode 10 that can erase it.
I mean, why not? Episode 9 erased stuff that happened in 8.
You are not wrong. And there's an in-universe. I don't necessarily think this is a fix or a solution or something but there is. So in Rebels, there was an introduction of essentially time travel, or the ability to access points in time that are massively force sensitive.
Well, that is a thing I would stay very far away from. I don't want to introduce time travel.
Well, the thing is that it wasn't time travel in the way where you can travel back in time and change events. That's not the time travel that they introduced.
Okay.
What happened is how it works out. In Rebels, and I won't go into like too much spoilery territory here, a character died in one season.
Okay.
They blew up in a massive explosion.
Mm-hmm.
And at the introduction in the last season of this sort of time portals, the character was watching the moment of this character about to die.
Yeah.
Like, she, get out of there, get out of there, get out of there. And just before it happened, he reaches out and yanks the character through the portal, saving them.
So everyone thinks that they died in the explosion,
But they were really
they were
pulled
free
forward.
jacked.
Yeah, they were free jacked.
Yeah.
And so that being said, that introduction of time travel wasn't something that could be utilized to change history, right? So if someone out there's like, oh, use that time travel ability to erase 9 and 8, and why not get rid of 7 too? No, it's not going to happen. Because that's the
Sure.
canonical time travel that exists in Star Wars does not offer itself to be, you know what I mean?
I think the problem with introducing that is because it's not Star Wars. Like, you can still call it Star Wars. They still called it Star Trek, but brought in time travel. But once you bring in time travel, it's real hard to not make that sort of the central thing.
Mhm.
Now, then it's Time Wars.
Time Wars.
Which could be its own thing, but I don't think that should be Star Wars.
Sure. So that said, where do you go from episode 9? So the way episode 9 ends, we have Rey adopting the last name Skywalker and being the last Jedi,
Mhm.
at least the last known Jedi. The Palpatine and the dark side have been destroyed and obliterated and wiped off the face of the universe, which seems to be a problem because the last time there were too many Jedi and light side and good, freaking Anakin Skywalker was born to wipe them out,
Sure.
right? Because the whole idea of balancing
Sort of.
the
Well, no,
force-
I write like the way they then built the entire Palpatine story. Palpatine's entire story sort of like sidesteps all of that stuff and just says, I had this plan all along. It was all me. I decided to do all of this. And look how cool I am. All of my clones are weird old men.
Your Palpatine could use some work, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, okay.
No. So basically what I'm saying is, as a starting point for what episode 10 could potentially dive
Sure.
into, is the fact that if there's no dark side and it's all light side now, there needs to be a balance in the force, which means dark side needs to return, right? Because
Sort
isn't that what Star Wars is constantly playing with, is a balance in
well, okay. So I think at the end, Rey was supposed to be that balance.
she's the good
She is
end
the,
of it.
the dark in the light.
Because
The light in the dark.
because she is a Palpatine
Mhm.
and a Skywalker.
And that was also supposed to be the whole. I think that was also supposed to be the duodenum. What did they call them? The
diadem.
diadangum.
No, the diadangum. No, wait, that's from Harry Potter.
Time Turner.
Time Turner.
The Rey and
and Kylo.
Kylo Ren. Yeah, they were twins. They were Force twins. Force twinsies.
Twinsies.
Right, and the idea was they were the yin and the yang, and then Kylo Ren went away, so then she was just the yin and the yang, I guess. She was both, but then also one half.
Right.
It's weird. Not the best stuff happening there. So I actually think, right, problems abound in 7, 8, and 9. 7 was sort of, it was, hey, remember New Hope? Let's get this going again. We haven't seen a Star Wars movie in years. So
Right.
here's sort of a familiar start again.
A soft reboot, if
Yeah.
you will. It was a safe way to go, but it was the right way to go.
It really was. And then they handed it to Rian Johnson,
Mhm.
who did a lot of things to upset a lot of people.
I
have one close friend who will never forgive Rian Johnson or that movie for what he did to Luke Skywalker. Personally, I've come around. I like the idea, and I know Luke Skywalker fans don't like me
Mhm.
for this, but I really liked Luke Skywalker becoming Yoda. Essentially,
Yeah.
He became a new Yoda. Like everything done, Yoda would do weird, gross things on Dagobah, and Luke was like, "What is this guy?
What are you doing,
and
man?"
so then when Rey shows up,
no, mine, no.
and when Rey shows up, she's like, "Oh, you're the fabled Luke Skywalker." And he's all like, "Mah, mah," throwing rocks,
I'm
spilling milk on my face. Right? I'm weird and gross. Hanging out with space penguins. And like I liked that parallel that the student became the curmudgeonly old master. So I actually kind of like that. And the thing is, Rian Johnson blew up a lot of Star Wars, and for that, at first I didn't like. But then the more I thought about it, I'm like, actually, he's doing a certain service to the franchise and the world by kind of exploding some of these ideas, which were drilling down further and further. He blew them up to be back to the world. Like, I actually thought it was really kind of lame that it was like, nah, there'll always be sides fighting each other, and I'm gonna sell weapons to both because sides will always be fighting. The thing is, that was really kind of like, whoa, how not actually kind of bland, but like how you went and said a whole bunch of nothing. But then I realized, while it did that, it did also say, well, this is the world of Star Wars. There will always be wars in the stars.
Mm-hmm.
And to open up that, in my opinion, opens up the franchise to keep going. And then everyone got real mad. And so J.J. Abrams said, don't worry, I'll fix it. And he got rid of all that and just said, I'm going to take all the things you like, make them 3 times larger, and we're just going to finish this. We're just going to finish this.
And as I've complained off mic many a times, it seemed like he took his ideas for 8 and 9 and made one movie out of it. And his ideas could have been good if they were spread out over 2 movies, which it feels like a mistake that they didn't just let him do 9 and 10. If 8 was such a problem critically for the fans. I liked 8 in that it took away the gimmies. Like, if we're just going to remake Empire and Jedi, Rian Johnson's like, nope, I'm going to do Empire and Jedi. And now you got to do something new and different.
Yeah.
And I liked the potential in that. And I thought that 8, much like The Matrix Reloaded, was real dependent on what they were going to do with 9, whether or not 8 was worth it. Right. Yeah. Whether or not Matrix Reloaded was going to be worth it was how they ended up they could stick the landing.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, like I said, there's a bunch about 8 I don't care for.
Sure.
But definitely after 9, in retrospect, I had an appreciation for a few of the things he at least seemed to try to set up for the universe.
Yeah,
and that's honestly what I kind of want to do. What I would do with 10, and what that is I would explore a new war.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So now we're good. I'm glad, because we're not going to spend this whole episode criticizing or critiquing or reviewing 7, 8, and 9. That's not going to be any fun. If you want to hear that, literally type Star Wars into YouTube and you're going to get an endless amount of videos about that very thing.
Maybe we'll do a side bonus secret thing where we'll do a little just whine and whinge.
Why did they do that?
Yeah.
Why did they do that?
I like this thing and then they didn't do it.
But I like this thing and I don't like this thing. There you go. There you
go.
Take that audio clip. Take that audio clip and just put it on a loop.
Yeah. Take that audio clip. Say a Star Wars thing with a question mark at the end, and then play that.
There you go. But you've introduced a good starting point here for what episode 10 would be. What's the war?
So here's an idea. Here we go.
Throwing it out.
Right, so that we get our nice opening crawl. Several years have passed. Maybe a decade, maybe a generation or so.
A generation. A generation has passed.
There you go. The thing is, the New Republic could actually the New Republic, the New Republic. I don't know what it is.
The new Republic.
The New Old Republic. Oh,
yeah.
The old new whatever. I would actually want to frame it. I wouldn't want to frame it that they're necessarily our good guys. Maybe we can, but ultimately, what I want to do is I actually want there to be several states. Several groups, right? We've always had maybe this goes counter to what Star Wars has always done.
Mhm.
It's always been two sides, one versus another.
Right.
I would actually have space be fractured. So there's the New Republic, but then there's also a confederation of independent worlds over here.
We've been there before. We've been there before through the Clone Wars. There was the Republic, and then there were oh my God, I'm totally blanking here. Any Star Wars fan listening to this now is like pulling their hair out, like they're doing terms wrong.
they're pushing their glasses all the way into their skull.
But we've seen a bit of a divide like that. We've seen, if you look at Knights of the Old Republic, the planets were very separated at that point. There wasn't like an all-encompassing empire or republic. I'm going old school. Sure. And honestly, the stories that people tend to like the most in general are the Outer Rim stories, which are, that's the Wild West. They aren't under the thumb of the Empire or the Republic. So dividing the galaxy up, I like that. To stop, in fact, going out of their way to go, look, having all one encompassing government controlling the entire galaxy has clearly been a bad thing multiple times over. So now let's have a United Nations of sorts.
But I think that they're still going to try. That's what the New Republic was meant to be, like United Nations, or Coruscant was meant to be United Nations. I'm thinking more like, almost like the colonial period of the Americas, right? You had the Americas. So you had the natives who lived here. Then you had French colonists and English colonists and Spanish, and like they're all fighting for this territory. And so they're fighting each other, and they're all good guys in their own right, and they're all bad guys in their own right.
Depends on it. Yeah, from a certain point of view.
Oh yeah, it's a big mess, is what it is. And they're all trying to gather resources, whether it's reclaiming old empire tech or different things like that. They're all trying to lay claim to new things. I'm more premise building here. I don't really have necessarily the story or plot.
That's okay. Let's figure out what the state of the universe or the galaxy is at this point.
But what would start being revealed is one of the big WMDs, one of the big power weapons that these groups are able to get their hands on is they are able to get a force wielder.
Okay.
Because along with that, what we find out is, and this is what I wanted Force Awakens to be, is there's sort of as is hinted by 7, 8, and 9. There's sort of a new explosion of force wielders, of force sensitive people and kids and stuff like that. And I know, was it 8 went out of its way to try to say nobody needs to study anymore. Everyone just gets space powers. I didn't like that. I actually really like the idea of actually, you know what? You might be a wild force user, and that's fine. But if you get training, you're going to be way more awesome with it. And I like the idea of there being many schools. It's not just Jedi and Sith.
Okay, I like where you're going here. Okay, so having different organizations or different planet systems, different systems, almost like a Last Airbender kind of way, where there's firebenders, there's the Fire Nation and the Earth Nation and the Wind Nation and the Waterbending Nation.
Now the nations aren't necessarily with each specific school. Like I'm thinking different nations would be able to sort of entice different force users to be their enforcers in different ways. Like maybe there's, because also there wouldn't be too many schools, but to bring it back to connect it to the originals, because it would need to be.
I got an idea.
Keep
going.
Rey Skywalker.
Yeah.
She starts a school, right? So she is training people, and they've been going out, and maybe they've been starting new dojos. I'm just going to use the word.
Let's do it. They're dojos. They're dojos. I got something for this, but keep going.
And the thing is, she's going to be the best one. She produces the best students and stuff. And people keep trying to say, Rey Skywalker, please come join our side. Our side is so righteous. See how righteous we are. We need you to help us. And she refuses. Like, no, I will not take a side.
Neutral.
I train and my students, while they tutor under me, they will not take a side.
That seems like it's going to be a problem.
Sure. So sort of that's where I would kind of want to build the conflict around. So the state of the universe, all of these nation states, starting to butt up against each other, starting to fight over resources, and some of those resources being force wielders.
Okay. Good.
And then the way the dojos then schools, the way the schools start conflicting with each other.
Well, okay, let's try this. What about here's for a premise for this episode 10, right? If honestly, the fact that it's 10 is more likely going to be 10, 11, 12, but let's just start with 1 because that's what New Hope did when it was just called Star Wars. It stands on its own. Let's plan on a trilogy, but let's not work on a trilogy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, let's just get this one right. How about this for a premise? Force wielders all over the place. This galaxy is no longer like Jedis aren't in hiding. It isn't like the ancient, this hoodoo voodoo from the past. It's like force powers exist. We see them every day. There's people in all, not that it's everywhere. These aren't gas stations and banks.
I don't want to Harry Potter force powers here.
Well, the reason I'm almost going in that direction is to say that could our main character end up being a non-force user? Right. So that in a world where the quote unquote most special people are force users, most of them use some sort of saber kyber crystal weapon. Those are the best of the best. And lo and behold, the most important character in this story is going to be a nobody, someone without superpowers. That then not that they're going to be Han Solo and being a snarky badass rogue, but someone who's, imagine Luke's attitude without force powers.
I like Luke's attitude without force powers. I don't think they should be, because you end up with a different. I think you end up with a story where your non-force character is like, if only I had something. What's my place in the universe? And maybe that's the story we should tell here. What I would actually the force can be a thing that's known, right? It's not something. I've never seen one.
Yeah,
but
it
should be something that, like, when you honestly, it should be like machine guns. Some people see them every day.
Yeah.
Some people don't.
I've never seen it. I've seen them on TV.
Yeah.
Or holocrons. The HoloNet. I've seen them on the HoloNet.
Right. And so for our cast, like, I like the idea our main character is not a force user. I like the idea that our Han Solo character is the force user here. So whenever because we're gonna build the archetical group again.
Yeah, it's hard not to. Happen. It's freaking Star Wars.
Yeah. And I mean, you can equate that to other things. Lord of the Rings, right? Our Frodo is going to be our Luke Skywalker.
Yes, that's exactly where
our Han Solo is our Strider / Aragorn.
Yes.
And in this, I think it would be cool if that guy was the force user. Right, he's the dude. He's been around the block. He knows how this works. He's almost even jaded towards the politicking that's happening. So when our young characters are like, "Gee whiz, we're gonna go out and do good," he's all like, "We're gonna see. Yeah, we'll see what your impact is. I have magic powers and I don't have an impact."
Yeah.
Something like that. That's more. I think the direction I would prefer to go.
Yeah, and I'm of a similar mind there. But we have like a universe that's in conflict. If one of the main conflicts, I think, should be people trying to push for another galactic organization, but other people pushing against that, going, that never works out. We're not going to have an all-encompassing galactic empire or anything like that again. We don't want a republic. The United Nations is the extent where you can have representatives. We all get together and chat, but no one's passing laws. We're not having one overseeing president or chancellor ever again. Like, that's the main, but the villain, and I don't want the villain to be like, I will control the galaxy. I don't want that again.
No, I think it should be, right. Like, I think a lot of people are sort of rallying for their government, essentially nationalism, because they're seeing what these other nation states, planet states,
systems. We'll keep going.
Nation
Systems.
planets, systems
Yeah.
are doing like they have incursions, right? Like, oh, I was there when the give me some
The
Star
Mon
Wars planets.
Calamari.
I was there when the Mon Calamari invaded so and so, and I want to stick it back to them and Coruscant forever, right? So it's not just we are the big, mighty, and powerful. It's about like, hey, I want our side. Like I want showing more of the people actually being behind what their country is like behind their believing in the propaganda and what's happening.
And I think that's a good, it's a generation removed, and it's conversations about this is what happened last time. We don't want to do that again. Yeah, but we want the way the resources in the system, the way they're controlled. I think of the in-between time of Jedi to Force Awakens. We're seeing that in The Mandalorian. And I like that, for example, the X-Wings are sort of policing the galaxy. So when they come across the Mandalorian, it's like, hey, you're in the wrong territory. Let me see your identifier. No, thanks. Identifier broken. I'd rather not. I'm just passing through. And that sort of casual conflict, or that sort of who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. I like that vagary.
Yeah. Well, and I would want like just to have sort of a similar situation. They're out on their patrol and they come across another group that has not necessarily, or maybe they do have X-Wings because they were all part of the Republic that then split.
Fractured, yeah.
And so then these other blue X-Wings are like, you guys are strayed a little far from your path. And like, I don't think so. This is our territory. I don't think it is. So, right, sort of border disputes.
Yes, yeah. Star Wars Episode 10, Fractured Galaxy. That's just
Fractured Legacy.
Fractured Legacy. Well, now we might be talking about. Okay, so we have that might be go towards what our main characters are going to be doing in this adventure. We have our setup in our universe here. What's the plot? Who are these characters and what are they going to accomplish in this?
Well, I don't know.
Well, that's fine. Having a non-Force user as a main character seems like a fun way to go. Seemed like you were on board for that, but having not his Obi-Wan or his Gandalf, if you want to go back to Lord of the Rings, being like a jaded old man who has to sacrifice himself to push the. I don't want to check off the lists of the monomyth.
Sure.
That New Hope did and Force Awakens did. I don't want to necessarily do that, but getting the team up of at least our main character and supporting character being a non-Force user as our Luke-ish, Skywalker-ish, and a Force user being our Han Solo-ish kind of character. Whether they're male, female, alien, robot, whatever, we can get there. So where how do we get this adventure started? What's the adventure here? And I ask you that knowing that we can take a break right here, grab something to drink and come back in 5 minutes and
sounds good.
And go from here. So we're going to take a quick break here and continue our discussion on what's this episode 10 is going to be. And those of you listening, I hope you have a running list of all the mistakes we've made in this conversation so far.
I hope you're not just screaming, no,
diadem.
Do it this way.
They're the diadem. My God. No, it's not diadem. It's dyad. D-Y-A-D, dyad.
Okay.
It's the
duodenum. I'm going with duodenum.
That's also Lord of the Rings, though, isn't it?
No, it's a body part.
What is Strider? He's the duodyne.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Well, we'll be right back.
Welcome to our new podcast. Welcome to our new podcast.
This isn't working.
Agreed. I think we're going to have to do it turn by turn.
Well, now that you mention it, we are a brand new RPG video game podcast.
Our very existence hinges on turn-based gaming.
So join us on the Turn by Turn podcast, where we'll be talking about
Pokemon, Fire Emblem, Golden Sun, Shining Force, Mother, and so many more.
It's your turn to come and join us.
Hi, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Mike.
And we are brothers-in-law. We both love beer and are amateur home brewers.
Wait, so does that make us brothers-in-law?
I believe so.
Every episode, we will talk about aspects of beer and home brewing.
But nothing super technical because we're learning this too.
So join us as we sit down together and dive into something beer-related.
Whether it's a little field research, tasting a certain beer style, or beers from a specific brewery.
Talk about our experiences brewing beer at home, including our own solo brews, as well as themed competitions we'll set up along the way.
We will also talk about some of our favorite aspects of brewing, like hops, extra ingredients, building our brew cave, and more. And of course, our own misadventures that have happened along the way.
So, if you like beer, are home brewing already,
or if you have an interest in home brewing and don't know where to start,
join us on Brothers-in-Law Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
And make sure to follow us on Twitter at Brothers-in-Law and check out our website, brothersinlaw.com.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You're not wrong. We are handicapping ourselves by not having a big bad, because the coolest things about Star Wars, Darth Vader, Kylo Ren was the coolest part of the third trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Darth Maul's the coolest part of Episode 1. Count Dooku is cool, I guess.
No.
Grievous is cool. Okay, I have an idea I want to pitch for kind of launching our adventure here.
Mm-hmm.
You said you something else sprung to mind for you.
What if our bad guy? What if he's just as bad as Darth Vader?
Mm-hmm.
But he is not a Force user.
Mm-hmm.
He's almost General Grievous. Not going to make him a wheezing robot.
Oh,
but he actually takes pride in taking out Jedi.
Yes, I like this.
Or I'm sorry, Force users.
Force users. So are we suggesting that in our new adventure here into the Star Wars galaxy is a non-Force user for a hero and a non-Force user for a villain?
Possibly.
Now, I'm just realizing right now that we have a non-Force user main character in The Mandalorian. That he's just a cowboy with a gun.
While the TV shows are canon,
Mm-hmm.
they're not the movies.
They're not the movies, right? And you are not wrong. So I think you're onto something there. That if our main villain is a Force user assassin, not a bounty hunter, just literally why? So why would he be doing this? And why would our hero try to stop him? Right?
Oh
So-
yeah, that's a bit personal of a goal.
Yeah. So let me suggest this. See if this goes somewhere with this. How about in order to
What if he does have a power?
who our main character,
our bad guy.
our bad guy? Okay.
Our bad guy doesn't necessarily. He's a wild Force user. Is really he doesn't see it that way. He hates being suggested that way. He has no teacher. He taught himself.
Mm-hmm.
His only ability is to cancel Force powers.
Ooh, like a negation.
Yeah, like all the way to, because I understand they're tech, but they're also well, no, I don't know. The idea being he can even do something like cancel or negate, or even just shut off or shunt
Lightsabers. Oh, like you're like igniting a lightsaber for the first time, and all of a sudden it's like fizzles out like Obi-Wan's in
Mm-hmm.
New Hope.
Something like that, or like if they just get too close to him, they like the blade just goes away.
Okay, so because this is a world of rhyming poetry, could there be something in if his ability is to negate Force powers? Right, now, our villain is able to murder and assassinate Force users because he can. That's his ability.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets near our hero, suddenly our hero has extreme Force abilities. So they are basically dyads. They are
the duodenum.
Stop saying that. It's going to be something like that. Where
I remember. I know that word so well because it's one of the words that is repeated many times in Weird Al's song about the spleen.
Okay. Okay. So we have
Flow into the duodenum.
Thank you. What do you think about that though? That our character who is
honestly, that's probably the best. We're reversing everything we said we were going to do. And honestly, maybe like that should be, it's either if it's at best a third act reveal, if not a sequel reveal. if not episode 11 reveal, I would say, or maybe not. I don't know. My only problem with that is that really does start. It's not exactly, but it gets real close to Chosen One territory.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, does Jim not like Chosen One stuff.
I'm just trying to think of if this is the premise. Say we have our main character, MC, who is non-force user, somehow involved with one of the schools, not a student per se, but maybe I don't want to say janitor, but someone who just is part of like works in a.
Perhaps they were a slave child who had to sweep out.
No, this is not Broom Kid, because that kid had powers.
Yeah,
just some sort of everyday schmo. Think of the everyday people who live on Asgard, right?
No, that's too much of an inside joke. I'll say the inside joke and then I'll explain the inside joke. Perhaps a janitor who plays video games in his spare time and is visited by time travelers, and his last name is Futterman. That's from the show reference. Future Man. Wonderful show.
If this kid is at an organization, maybe it is Ray's school, and okay, I'm going to throw this in. Okay, we start at Ray's school. The assassin shows up, wipes them out, and the lone survivor is the non-Jedi main character.
Like go with almost like a failed Jedi story?
Repeating Luke's failed school and that gets destroyed because it's poetry and it rhymes. That we start this movie by killing Rey.
Oh, I know there's a lot of people that would like that. I actually don't want to do that.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just creating it as an option here.
I think Rey should stick around.
Okay, I'm okay.
I think Rey should either be an Obi-Wan or Yoda type.
Do we see
character.
her as a full main character in this, or is this someone that he comes across? Sorry,
sure.
I won't say he or she,
yeah.
but that our main character, our non-binary main character, comes across later.
What if he? I don't. I just the thought occurred to me that our Force Negator actually was a failed student of hers, so he went back for revenge or something. But that's a little too Kylo Ren.
Luke, yeah.
So nah.
I like the idea that this dude is almost inexplicably hates Force users. That's like, why? Sure. What is the because there's the speculation that Star Wars fans love so much. Why is this guy killing Force users?
Sure, and then we're gonna have to build a reason that he does. He can't just be a jerk.
No, right? and that certainly could be.
It's going to have to be something like, oh, he was a kid and then his parents were killed and he was sad.
He was sad because the Jedi, he thought the Jedis would come save him, but they didn't, and he was sad. What is that? That's from.
That's Patton Oswalt.
No, I know that's from Patton Oswalt, but it's Incredibles 2.
Oh, okay.
So essentially, that's the reason the bad guy hates. We're just taking the exact villain's motivation from Incredibles 2 that I thought the Jedi would save me and they didn't, so now they must all die.
Actually, how about we steal this one? Mm-hmm. We steal Conan the Barbarian.
Ooh.
James Earl Jones again in there. In Conan was basically this dude who had several powers. But really, he had a power to turn into a snake. That was his deal. Mm-hmm. And why can't I remember his name? I'm a terrible fan. No, he wasn't Crom. Crom was the god.
Crom.
But he had a cult basically. What if this guy has a cult? This guy is building a group of a following of people who also don't like Jedi.
Okay, Thulsa Doom.
Oh, Thulsa Doom.
Thulsa Doom.
Thulsa Doom. Two snakeheads coming together in the middle.
I like that we're going with that, but I also think that for this first movie, it's a lone assassin, and then subsequently it's
and all the politics is more of a backdrop.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
The politics is less of like, okay, let's try this.
So them moving through space to try to chase this guy is difficult because everybody else is warring for these political reasons and for resource grabbing.
We don't have time to think about this one lone assassin character.
But we sure don't like you passing through our territory.
Yeah. And so if
papers, please.
Papers, please. Papers, please. Okay, what about this for opening? We started like a school of sorts. There is an annual reenactment, essentially. Like another
I just realized
another school shows up to represent and honor the history of the Battle of Light and Dark Side, and they have a sort of like a ceremonial battle where people, not like the gladiators or sorts, but like where they reenact the fight between, and it's basically like a karate tournament, right? It's like dojo versus dojo, and it's all respectful, and someone enters one of the main fights against like the best student, and it's like, oh, who's this dark cloaked figure? And then the dark cloaked figure just straight up murders breaks protocol and actually kills one of the Jedi students. Pandemonium as the assassin reveals himself and goes on the run, and now I don't know, I'm sorry, these are broad strokes, but then it's a matter of our main character and a Jedi seeking them out. Sorry, Force users, Jedis. We won't have Jedis in this, right? It's just, I guess there could be, I have a lightsaber and I wear a cloak, so I call myself a Jedi. It's like, Jedis don't exist anymore. Stop calling yourself that. I
kind of like that idea that Jedi is this old term that no one uses anymore.
Mm-hmm. But is that sort of a kick off the adventure?
Except for maybe people who come from Rey's school.
Yeah, only actual Jedis come from her school.
Yeah,
that's fair. But what is that a good way to kick off the adventure? That the assassin reveals himself in some sort of small ceremonial get together, and call to adventure is go find this guy. And our main character has to go out and find this assassin, bring him in. Could a bounty hunt be our main plot for this episode 10?
A revenge story. Short answer, yes, it could be.
Does that tickle your fancy?
A little bit, yeah.
Because then that gets us a ship, that gets us a small team of characters that hit the road. They have a purpose for doing this, which is get the bad guy who did the bad thing and bring him back.
Sure.
And if that's just the A, B, and C of this, set in a world where there's a constant conflict going on, that our big finale could be a battle is, I don't want to turn it into some sort of Death Star battle or Endor battle, but that the villain seeks refuge in a hugely conflicted zone, so that while side A versus side B is having a blowout, we just have our main character trying to get through this shit to get to the bad guy. Like they're in the mix, but they are not fighting on either side.
What if? Okay, and I'm gonna crib from a couple of my other favorite movies here.
George Lucas would be happy to let you do
that. What if? Okay, so we have our initial blowout where the guy assassinates like 2 schools of people.
Yeah,
and one of them can be Rey's school. Only in the final duel. Basically being like anyone who didn't run away, anyone who didn't get away.
Because he negates powers. So like none of these people know how to fight because they're so used to their freaking force powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it comes down to there's a scene with him and Rey holds her own.
This is our opening of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She gets injured, but is still able to fend him off. Because she fought with a stick
knew
for
how
so
to
long.
fight before she had force powers. Yeah. It's like poetry.
But he steals something. He steals the tome or the tomes or whatever.
The Jedi texts.
Yeah. that normally that she, because she doesn't have attachments like that, whatever, it's gone. But something about it is important to get back. And the only one who survived and has come back to help the injured Rey kind of clean up the destroyed dojo.
Yeah.
School. I need to stop saying dojo.
That's fine.
The destroyed school is our main character, who's not quite failed. He's always been the worst student. Maybe he's never shown any sort of force powers,
sensitivity.
but he is still a student there, and he is the one who's
Oh.
he's always the one who has to sweep and stuff like. But that's also why he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have force power, so he couldn't be in the ritual things. Like he's the type, he's almost the kind of kid who has to be like on the roof looking through the thing to watch the special ceremony or something.
Could
And
he
so
come
that's why he shows up.
Could he come from a family of very force sensitive people and he never manifested it? No? Is that going into chosen one territory?
A little bit.
Okay. Well, whatever reason, I like the idea that he shows up to like.
We probably should figure out his backstory though.
The reason he's there, he's been waiting for his force sensitivity to manifest, and he's like, it'll happen. Someday it'll happen.
Okay, so it's Star Wars, so it has to be not incestuous. That's the wrong word, but definitely there needs to be like weird family stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
What if at some point, I don't know what, the Negator is somehow related to our main character? Either an estranged father, an estranged brother,
mother. I know there's people listening who are like wanting us to be clear about our pronouns here, but just because it's easy to shorthand it.
Yes. I default to male because
that's because you're a male. That's fine.
And I grew up in 20th century America.
So I don't. Okay, you're right that there needs to be some sort of familial thing. That's why I suggested this character has a sister or a brother who is a badass Jedi who maybe even got injured or killed when the assassin did their thing.
I was just about to say that.
Because now there's something personal.
They're the younger sibling.
Please, I'll go. I will hunt him down. I will do this. I don't need my force powers, but he killed the Negator. Killed
so Rey, who is injured and too injured to go along.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she'll get better and come back later.
Yeah.
But for now, she can't.
Right.
She says, I can't stop you from going. If you're going to go, just get the MacGuffin.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get revenge.
Yes. But of course, this character wants revenge.
Yeah.
But just get the thing
Yeah.
that was taken from us. And don't try to go against this guy. Don't go against the Negator.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna. They are obviously very powerful. That they have learned and trained themselves to negate. We've introduced a MacGuffin. You know what he gets to get? Rey has the Millennium Falcon.
He takes the ship.
Is that what she gives him? Do we get the Millennium Falcon?
It's just a piece of junk, though.
I need you to take this Ford Rambler and travel the galaxy. But it does get some.
She gives the kid not that the guy stole.
No,
he
didn't
say.
I'm saying to travel. This main character
actually, and you know why? Because on his way out, the Negator smashes everything there to follow him, except the Millennium Falcon, which is way in the back because that's a junked antique that no one cares about.
Okay,
that's probably the way to go.
So we get the Millennium Falcon here, which is pretty cool, actually. I'm okay with this. It's the best ship in the galaxy.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, is this main character going alone? No, we had discussed earlier that there's another Jedi.
Well, he's going to try to. He's going to meet this other Jedi. So honestly, probably at his first obstacle, right? Like I have to cross this border. I don't know how to do it. I need someone to help me get across. I have credentials.
Okay.
I have reasons I need to get over there.
Yeah.
You take me. I'll get you across.
Okay. Hey, you have force powers. You can help me. I'm going against the Negator. Have you heard of the Negator? Not interested.
Not interested. But I can do this and this, and I can give you this and this.
I'm really good with robots.
Yeah.
Look, I have a robot sidekick.
Is he going to be good with robots too?
A mechanic. It's just a mechanic. So that gets our Han Solo-esque character on board here. That it's someone who's just like, hey, I just needed to get from A to B, and you were the best chance I had. I don't have
and of course he's going to get roped in because this kid's going to get himself killed.
Yeah, and I got to be responsible for you, son of a bitch.
Yeah, I like that. And then what we can do. So the movie I want to introduce the MacGuffin because the movie I want to steal from is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Great.
Because it's about these.
Hey, Western it up, man. Keep going.
It's about these characters. Initially, it's about Tuco and Blondie who are friends and then not friends, traveling together to try to find this gold they heard about. And along the way, something I forget his, not Snake Eyes, not
Angel
nice
Eyes.
eyes.
Angel Eyes.
Angel Eyes. Thank you. Angel Eyes is the bad. Like he's the guy who's just messing with him the whole time. And he, for the parallel, he would be our negator character. But the reason I wanted to use that is because our characters don't have ties to that movie. Takes place during the Civil War,
Right?
So they cross and have to deal with some people and help them out to get through a battle between the Union and Confederates, a Union army and a Confederate army. They don't actually have ties to them. They just want to get through. Except it turns out Angel Eyes at one point, Angel Eyes is like a major or something in the Union army, and he uses his connections there. He uses that rank and that privilege to basically imprison Tuco and Blondie and then torture them to get the info of where the treasure is.
Right.
Then he gets out and then they have to escape and stuff.
And stop him.
And I want to incorporate that here. So our negator, who shows up, who just seems to be this dark, mysterious figure, flees into this other nation system's territory, and our characters follow him, and they find out this dude is actually like a part of the military here and has quite the resources.
Or yes, or maybe that he was even involved with multiple military. Like, how is this guy got connections with this organization's and this systems organization and this systems organization?
Oh yeah,
and this
I like that.
This dude
is connected.
Yeah, like he is what Darth Maul sort of became as a cloak and dagger under like behind the scenes villain. So there's a lot. I love that there's so many questions with this character of like, why is he doing this? And how the hell is he so connected? And it could be because he comes into systems and go, hey, A, you're fighting B. I can make that easy for you by stopping B's superpowers.
Yeah.
What do you want out of us for that? That's you're offering us a great deal. What do you want out of it?
Favors and benefits.
Favors and benefits.
Yeah.
Like just collecting favors all across the galaxy. Because if we're thinking big picture episode, like third episode in this trilogy kind of thing, if he cashes in all his favors and tries to create the new intergalactic battle between systems, he's like this puppet master character. He's not the emperor where he's like, I'm going to control and rule the galaxy. It's, I am the puppet master who's going to keep this war going. I want the wars to keep happening. There's no peace. There's no reason for peace.
And honestly, he has a shadow network in all of the nations.
Yeah.
So he does sort of run things in this warlord kind of way.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm digging this as a villain character because he feels different in a lot of nice ways. Just tracking him down and cribbing off of Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where we basically get vignettes or not vignettes, but it's like we go from A to B to C
and
to
thus
D.
Our characters have to partake in some sort of space battle,
right? Like we're not on either side, we're just trying to get through.
Or even if they're like, you help us do this run, right? You help us do this trench run, and we will we'll give you the clearance. You'll get clearance from us.
So we're kind of creating some interesting mysteries to be had for long run kind of situations where, especially our villain here, the negator, like the why and what of this character is very interesting. Our main character being very clear, like there's no questions about this character, which I like, because one of the problems with Rey was the mystery box scenario of who is she? What's her history? What's her past? This will only disappoint all of you. Here we go. I like more of the Luke, where it's like, no, farm boy wants this, and Call to Adventure ends up being the greatest hero in the galaxy kind of thing. Somewhere in between that, where it's a character who I will do what's right, and I will chase down this bad guy, and I'll bring back the MacGuffin because it's the right thing to do, and I want to be, whether I have force powers or not, I want to do right by the universe and the people I care about. And then you have our Jedi character who tags along, which is a bit roguish Han Solo type, like, what are you in for? What are you in for? What do you get out of this? I got my reasons. I got my things.
There's your mysterious background.
Yeah. So getting them through the galaxy and doing basically check-ins at different points at different planets to just chasing down the negator. What's
learning about different things, like, oh, there's this government has come in and is oppressing the people here, or this battle is taking place here, or
man, this battle's
these
been
people
going
are-
on for this one continuous battle between the red side and the blue side has been going endlessly for 10 cycles at this point. Now, this is fun because a couple of demands were discuss the Mandalorian or make the movies more like the Mandalorian. And as I said before, that in-between period of Jedi and Force Awakens is that uncertainty of battles and territories and who's the power vacuum and whatnot. Not that there's a power vacuum in our galaxy as we've done it for episode 10, but it's just that
I mean, there kind of is. That's why all of these different nations are fighting each other, especially over the disputed territories.
Yeah. I like the simplification of this, that it's bad guy attacks right at the beginning and runs for it. And now our hero just is chasing him down. So what's the climax of this? What are we, I'm not trying to wrap up the episode. We're not done yet, but just what's our big climax here? We don't have a Death Star to blow up. We don't have
sure. Do we want to relate it back to something like that? Is there not another Death Star because the plans aren't out there, or are the plans just everywhere and no one has the resources to make something like that?
I feel like since our character is trying to get through the galaxy despite the conflicts around him, there could be like for example, if the Death Star was going to get blown up and we know the trench run of the good guys is going to happen and that the good guys are going to blow up the Death Star while the bad guys are trying to fend them off, that imagine a scenario where our main character is running around the Death Star trying to beat the clock. Right. Like this thing's going to blow up unless I get what I need and get the hell off of here. Right.
Like maybe one of the nations is putting together a Death Star.
I know people will complain about
they
this.
probably all are. That's the thing.
Everybody
Once you have,
nuke.
Yeah, everyone's going to want a nuke.
Yeah.
But our bad guy, a lot like Zemo. Sorry, that's on my mind recently. The way he thinks no one should have super soldiers is bad, so no one should have them. Our bad guy, he doesn't believe he's altruistic at all. No one should have a Death Star, because then my whole warlording, everyone must fight for always, is easier to do when no one can blow up a planet.
Right.
So he's wanting to actually sabotage Death Stars, but that puts our characters in a weird position of trying to quote unquote save a Death.
Like we need this nuke to keep
maybe
existing.
That's a bad idea. I rescind a bunch of that.
Back up. Yeah. I don't think the final battle here in this first one should be blow up the Death Star, because we've been there before too many times. 3 of these movies is about that. 4 of these movies about that. If you go episode 1, episode 4, episode 6, episode 7.
Sure.
Right.
Episodes 4 through 6 is the story of Luke Skywalker. The stories of episodes 1 through 6 is the story of Anakin Skywalker. The stories
of 1
through 9 is Palpatine. The stories of 1 through 12 is the Death Star.
The Death Star. But we do need a big blowout. We need something to excite, like a very exciting climax to this movie.
What could be a MacGuffin, ideally related to force powers, that's not a clone army or an army of some kind. It's not a big cannon.
It could
the
be
first thing from the EU that comes to mind, and I don't want it to be this, but I'm going to say it to get it out of the way.
Go ahead.
The Sun Crusher. I hate the Sun Crusher.
Not the Star Killer base.
Because the Sun Crusher was just a tiny little ship, if I remember right. Tiny little ship flies into a sun, does a thing, and explodes the sun to destroy the entire system. I hate that. No.
So not that.
No.
Not that. Okay, kyber crystals are really critical to lightsabers, but a kyber crystal was the core.
Rock my world.
A kyber crystal was the core of the Death Star and Death Star 2.
Sure.
Because they had a giant kyber crystal.
Oh. So, kyber crystals, I wouldn't say are rare, but right? No, maybe they are. And since the Empire destroyed most of them.
Mhm.
They're really unknown. Maybe what he stole from those tomes is a map. He stole an old map of it's a treasure hunt. It's a find. It's an X marks the spot. It
is the locations plural
Yeah.
of kyber crystals in the galaxy,
Mhm.
and he is going after the big one, like the kyber crystal planet, and he's gonna blow that sucker up.
Sure.
So our heroes have to get to the planet as well to stop him. Is that what it is? And then is he manipulating the battle to blow up this planet? Like, is that what it is? Is that there's two sides? There's a conflict between two sides. This small moon is in the middle and it's in the way, if you will. And it would be great if one of those sides blew up that moon.
But the only thing that could blow up something that big is a Death Star. So are we putting Death Stars in this?
It's Death Star versus Death Star. But the idea is to not blow them up. It's to just stop them from blowing up a moon.
And we've turned it into War Planets, the movie. You remember those toys, don't you? Hey, kids,
Planets.
buy these spheres and throw them at each other.
Ow, Mom. Is it? I like maybe the MacGuffin being the location of kyber crystals, because that goes to our villains, the Negator's motivation, which is to destroy Force users and destroy what gives them abilities.
Either that or a temple, like an old temple that has another MacGuffin in it.
I think kyber crystals might be the way to do it.
What if it is something like the location of an ancient Jedi temple that actually has the secret of what kyber crystals aren't natural? What if you need to produce them, you need to make them, and so that secret is locked away in a tomb. So he had to steal where the location of that is.
So then, if our final battle takes place in and or around the temple that is like the temple forge, the kyber crystal forge,
sure,
right? While there is a battle between two sides happening around it.
Yeah.
So our final location is this battle scene, and the temple or the hidden location of this forge is in the middle of the war zone. And so they have to get through. Negator's going from one side to get to the center
with the
point.
army he's brought from one of the nations.
Just one of the armies he's manipulating.
Yep.
Right. Like, why are we answering to you? Because then that gets us some other characters in here. Like, why am I answering to this guy? Do you know who that is? No, I just know he's got a black outfit with a cool helmet.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I said it out loud and I get it now. He's the villain. He's going to look cool. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But if it's big battle sequence, Forge is in the center of this battlefield, Negator's trying to get to it. Meanwhile, our heroes figured out where he's going as well, but they're coming from the other side. They get there. Now, what happens when they get there? Is it because our hero went to get the MacGuffin?
Sure.
Is it the map? Like, is it something more for it's something more related to the Force here, right?
It could be a formula. It could be a widget.
Oh, okay. What if it
could be,
since we're cribbing on other things, if it's the Genesis, it's Genesis from Star Trek.
Sure.
Where like you can launch this thing on a moon and it'll turn it into a Force planet, a hypercrystal planet.
Right. Yeah. You shoot it into the planet and it creates a thing, depending on how large of a thing or how long you shoot it.
Yeah.
It makes a kyber crystal deposit.
So the thing that was stolen, that Negator stole from Rey at the beginning of this, is the locations of kyber crystals. But one of those locations is going to be this forge. And if you can get to the forge, then the Genesis weapon is there, to just use that word.
Sure.
That's the term.
Yeah.
And he's going to use that as an ultimate weapon himself or destroy it. What is Negator's motive?
That's to understate it, that's printing money. So he wants it.
Oh, because every freaking system is gonna want that to help their Force users.
Not just that, but I'm sure they'd be making technology based on kyber crystals that don't even require Force use. If
all the other systems, the reason Jedis are only specific to Rey's school is because Rey's school is the only Jedi. They are only Jedis because they have lightsabers. All the other Force users across the galaxy don't have lightsabers because that's the one thing she's keeping from anyone.
That's not bad, right? Because lightsabers should be rare.
Right.
They shouldn't be.
And so
episode 2.
Other systems want lightsabers, and the only way to make a lightsaber is a kyber crystal.
Or to find an old one, which there are 2,000 in all of the galaxy?
Yeah. So if our negator is destroying Force users, he now is the sole. He has the sole. He solely has the information for where kyber crystals are, and even more so, the ultimate access to kyber crystals, a freaking bomb that could blow up a moon and turn it into a kyber crystal planet. Holy shit, I think that works.
Okay.
It's, if anything, it's different than all the other villains we've had in Star Wars before.
And so in that way, I like it a bunch.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of Star Wars fans out there that they're not going to like what we just came up with. They really want, make it the same, but just a little different.
They want the Empire. They want the good guys to defeat the Empire. They want lightsabers. But here's the thing: we can have our
and right, yeah, like ideally that's we have built that in there. Not necessarily evil Empire versus plucky rebellion. Well, actually, I actually want to have that play out in different places.
Yes.
Right. Like,
agreed. Like
you have your frontiersmen who are your plucky rebels who are fighting this encroaching. Oh, the Republic is claiming territory, and don't worry, citizen, you'll be folded in, but you're going to have to give us your land. No, that's not what I want. Meanwhile, New Republic versus the
New Order,
the old New Republic versus the new old Republic are fighting over this territory over here. Yeah, and there's a whole new trade federation.
That's and I know that's because my complaint for Star Wars for years was it's just the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah,
I don't care that. That's one thing I always thought was better about Star Trek is that they advanced the galaxy over the course of the series. Whereas Star Wars was always some dark side, some light side, and it was some rebellion versus some empire. It's just the same thing over and over again. And we have that, but that's just not our main character's story.
Yeah.
They aren't involved with that. They're trying to work their way through that.
And I want them to come across, especially as they go through battlefields, they come across other Force users.
Yeah.
Maybe even ones that have fashioned their own Force weapons.
Oh, 100%. Thinking of from Solo. It's Paul Bettany's character has the...
Yeah.
He has the...
Vision. Vision in Solo has the knives.
Yeah. And those are like knockoff Force or lightsabers, right? So yeah, we would have other lightsaber-esque weapons playing it. It's Dryden Voss. It is Voss.
Okay,
yeah. So having lightsaber-esque weapons as they come along. Given our main character his Han Solo-esque sidekick, give him a lightsaber. Let him have one.
Oh yeah. Well,
especially if he doesn't pull it out right away.
Sure.
Because like if we get to like a first big point of conflict, right? So we have our opening sequence of the attack. We could see some action and lightsaber stuff there when the negator shows up, hits the road. We have our first conflict where our main character can't get across a border, and our roguish Jedi Force user helps him. The first time we have like a real, this is the lightsaber comes out. It's like, you have a lightsaber. Shut up.
So, okay, I think we have the big beats of our story down. We need a couple more things. We need an alien character and a droid character.
Yes, yeah.
Our character is not a pilot. So he gets the Millennium Falcon, does a bad job of piloting it. He's like, I need to find a pilot.
I need to hire a pilot.
Yeah. Or does Rey send him to get a pilot? Because another thing we have to have a little bit of, little more cameos. We got Rey.
Chewbacca would be alive. Like,
okay. Do we want to bring Chewbacca back? I was actually going to say BB-8.
Okay. I mean, I'm okay with BB-8 coming back as far as like a sidekick to.
Well, essentially, yeah. And BB-8 essentially is the pilot of the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, I didn't consider that. I think our pilot should be a person or
something with thumbs.
Something with thumbs. Do we want it to be Chewbacca? Like when main character goes to the Millennium Falcon, is Chewbacca just like, get off my lawn, kind of like this is my ship, go away. I need your ship, Mr. Baka.
Maybe Rey never had the Millennium Falcon. Maybe Chewbacca had it. And so Rey sends him to go find
Sends main character to go
Chewbacca?
find, like, there's going to be, look, Negator destroyed all the ships. If there's one ship that's still operating on this planet, it's going to be over here. No, okay, wait. You can
Would
take
Chewbacca even be on that?
No,
Yeah.
you can take a shuttle from here to that moon that's close, that's in the system, right? But you can't. It does. None of the ships here have light. All the light, faster than light drives,
Yeah.
have been destroyed. The Negator did a thorough job. But if there's one ship around this system that's still going to have FTL, it's going to be there. And then it's show up, and lo and behold, it's the Millennium Falcon, and it's Chewbacca. It's Chewbacca and a new character that's also an alien. Chewbacca's sidekick.
What was Chewbacca's wife in the holiday
It's
special?
Mala.
It's Chewbacca and Mala.
It's Mala and Itchy.
Yeah.
The reason I want it to be not that is I think having someone to translate for Chewbacca. Our main character isn't going to speak Wookiee, right? Having David Ayahuato playing a robot. Oh, there you go. There's your robot. BB-8 can come along too, but if it's like Chewbacca and some clunky old droid that's his buddy,
it becomes. It almost, the thing is, we're creating situations where we're not leaning into the obvious thing. If it's Chewbacca, why wouldn't it be C-3PO?
Oh, sure. Well, yeah, why not? I mean, Anthony Daniels would do it. He's the only one who's been in every Star Wars, except for Solo. Yes, but Anthony Daniels will be
And then if
C-3PO
C-3PO is there, it's going to be, well, where's R2? And
Do we
now,
want?
And now we're getting.
Now we're close.
Essentially putting the old band back together
Nah.
of just the faces, of not the faces. Basically, we can keep aliens and droids going forever.
I say no. I say because Star Wars is always introducing new droids. You got BB-8. You've got Clunker from Rebels. R2-D2, obviously.
Sure.
Leet, L3 from Solo. So giving Chewbacca a robot sidekick to do the translating for him, and it doesn't have to be the uptight C-3PO type. It could be someone more like L3 who's got who's got an attitude, because there's always a plucky droid. There's always some droid with an attitude, right? So if Rey says the only way you're going to get a faster than light drive is take my shuttle to that planet, that moon, and you're going to want to find my old friend. And it's going to be Chewbacca and a new character. Because I don't want to just have Chewbacca and R2 and C-3PO and BB-8. I don't want to bring them back. I'm willing to bring Chewbacca back because he's the best. Or fine, it can be his son Itchy, and Itchy speaks common.
And his name is not Itchy. No, actually, I don't think any Wookiees can speak Galactic Common.
No. Yeah.
Like he has a device.
Hello. What is your name? I am Itchy.
Can't you have a device that speaks more clearly?
Doesn't sound like that.
This is the best we got.
Oh man. However, if we have Chewbacca, we have a mechanic, and then what does our main character have? If our main character isn't a pilot, and our main character isn't good with
he's got a mission.
He's got a mission. What do you got? What do you got? Huh? What do you got? I got a mission.
I mean, right? Maybe that's not enough. Just having pluck.
Yeah,
pluck isn't enough. But he kind of he's well. What did Luke have?
Tashi Station power converters.
He writes to the droid that had the message.
I think having some sort of skill in mechanic, being some sort of mechanical skill, computer skills. Maybe he's a slicer, or like, because that's what Benicio del Toro's character is. He's a hacker essentially. But regardless of what his skill might be, okay, we have our main character, we have the Jedi sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
We have. Do you think Chewbacca is the way to go with a robot with another robot?
In lieu of just inventing new characters.
Mhm.
Because initially I thought it would be fun to have a droid be the pilot,
Mhm.
like a droid that can talk.
Well, we
and
can.
so he's like, I'm having trouble flying the ship, and then
Yeah.
this droid's all like, hey,
I'll do it.
I can fly.
I do like that.
Um,
I think that there's still some there, but I don't want to have someone join the team so similarly to our Jedi character. I have a need. Need is met, as opposed to like if he goes to Chewbacca and Chewbacca is not as sharp. Like not that he's an old man, but just
Sure.
like if our robot character is like, I'm pilot, I fly. You're a droid. Are you sure? Like, why would there be droid discrimination this far into the galaxy? But if no, here's the thing.
Because it's built
If-
into Star Wars.
If the droid and Chewbacca are constantly bickering over who's the better pilot, because then you have a sort of a Rocket Star-Lord kind of
Oh, sure.
rivalry there, where they're constantly like, yes, but that's what you think. I know that if we go this way, and the kid's just in the side, or the main character's in the backseat, like, can you two stop arguing so we can just get out of here alive?
That's not bad. And then like there could even be stuff because the kid doesn't speak Wookiee.
Mhm.
Chewbacca says something and then the alien doesn't translate it.
What did he
does
say?
it-
I'd rather not.
Yeah.
not tell you.
Yeah, or like he translates it wrong and Chewbacca
Yeah.
like hits him or something.
And then
Did that happen? Did they ever do that?
I don't think
Everyone
so.
always just understood.
Understood. Well, Han would translate, right? But if you think about like in some of the Millennium Falcon space battles that we've had in the past, you had R2 and C-3PO like fixing something
Sure.
while
Sure.
Han and Chewie are flying. Now it can be flipped where Chewie and his robot sidekick are flying, and our main character's in the back trying to like fix the drive. Like, I'm trying. He says, "Hurry up! I got that." Meanwhile, our Jedi character's just sitting there like, "Why did I sign up for this?" I think we have some fun here.
I think so.
And then going after our villain, the Negator. And how does it end? Let's
Oh, sure.
yeah, let's. Does our hero successfully save? We'll call it. I'm just going to keep calling it Genesis. For those listening who don't know what I mean,
yes.
in Star Trek Wrath of Khan, there's a weapon that you can shoot at a moon that will turn it into a full, lush, living planet. And the Federation, the Klingons want to grab it to blow up a planet and use it as a
Sure.
nuke.
Yeah, right. Like we're gonna reset your planet while
Yeah.
you're on it.
Yeah. So just when I say Genesis, I'm just shorthanding
Yeah.
what this MacGuffin is. Our second MacGuffin in the MacGuffins.
I kind of want it to be a reusable device.
Yeah, getting it like saving it and getting it back. And
it doesn't
you're
turn
thinking,
a whole moon into the like it's literally like, oh, you want a kyber crystal deposit?
Mhm.
Shoot my special laser
Pew,
at your
pew.
planet.
Yeah.
You got one this size.
Sure.
You want more?
More money, please. Yeah. And
Now I realize that's a super niche detail that's unimportant to us crafting the story, but just had to say that.
I accept. But how's this end?
I think it ends with the kid getting the thing away,
Mhm.
like in either and he's getting away with it, and he like either passes it off to Chewie and the droid,
Or our Jedi character.
or something, or maybe he even holds on to it, but revenge overcomes him, and he turns back, and he has to get
Take
revenge.
it. What are you
for
doing,
his
kid?
brother,
What are you doing, kid?
or his sibling?
Sibling,
Sorry. Yeah, or the negator says something
Mhm.
that like he's like, I'm gonna listen to Ray. I'm not gonna get revenge. Your sibling was a dummy. It's like, oh, how dare you? They weren't a dummy.
You don't dummy you don't say that. You don't say that.
And so he turns back and he gets in a fight. And in classic Star Wars fashion, he loses a limb.
Oh, we usually say that for the second movie.
Oh, is
Jim.
that's a second movie
Yeah,
thing?
I don't know how I
My
feel
bad.
about
Okay.
this. I feel like people are going to tweet at you.
They probably will. Okay, maybe not, but ultimately something like that he loses the duel with the negator,
Mhm.
but it took long enough that reinforcements show up, so the negator has to back off.
I can get the negator out of there. If our hero is running back to confront the negator, and our Jedi character is like, "What are you doing? We gotta go!" Right, and basically been our enforcer the entire time,
Mhm.
but knows better than to get anywhere near the negator.
Sure.
Right, and the hero's like, "I can do this. I can fight. I can punch. Like I have skill." And that maybe that's what the hero's skill is. They're good with a blast, or they're good with their fists, right? And in the fight, the negator's like just toying, just batting, and our Jedi character can show up, not to confront the character, but basically take his lightsaber and chuck it at him. Because you can't. I know he can like turn lightsabers off, but if he's like over the hero about to kill him, all of a sudden, and just goes through his shoulder and chest, where he's like, "Fuck!" And then he's like, "We gotta get out of here, kid. Your lightsaber.
Okay.
I don't need it."
Oh.
Like he abandons that and he drags the kid out of there.
Okay.
And then
that would end up being that character's arc as well, where he's like, I really do care about him, personal passion stuff, and not just
you lost your lightsaber.
My lightsaber.
You sacrificed your lightsaber for me. Well, that's all right. You got that fancy little thing. I can get myself a new one. Well, I'm not going to use this to get you a new lightsaber.
Okay, kid.
We'll talk. We'll talk it over. Is that a good? Is that because you seem to?
That's not bad.
Or what was?
Well, the idea I had is like this negator the whole time is negating sabers and force powers, and in this final battle, he's fighting this kid and he's kicking the kid's ass, and suddenly, unexpected, he lights up a lightsaber.
Oh, like the negator does?
Yeah.
Oh, red lightsaber. Hey, that's cheating.
Something like that. Yeah. Was what I was thinking. Like the whipping a lightsaber. Someone.
I'm gonna go one better on you. Let me try this. Okay, so he's got hero dead to rights. Negator has hero dead to rights. Lightsaber through the shoulder, coming out his chest, like right. Here, Jedi running up to save the hero and dragging him away, pulling the lightsaber out and holding it, and it just, I know this is super dumb. People are like, that's not how this works. It turns red. Like if it's a blue lightsaber, it's just like
that's how it works now, friend. Yeah. This dude has other things going on.
And the lightsaber just turns red in his hand. I mean, think of that. Visualize that moment of like, I just sit in the audience for a moment like that in a Star Wars movie, loving it up to that point, and having the bad guy pull that maneuver. I'd be like, "What? He turned it red!" And we haven't seen a red lightsaber the whole movie.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
And then just leaving him standing there as the camera like pulls back as he's holding in all his iconic villainous glory, black cape flapping in the wind, red lightsaber in hand, with the battle of like blasters shooting around behind him as the forge is crumbling, and getting on the Millennium Falcon and flying away, leaving the battle to end however it ends.
Sure.
Woo! That sounds exciting.
I think so, yeah.
And then returning to Rey for our big, like the school, basically like applauding our hero character coming back.
The 4 people.
Well, like if it's a city as well, it's the school in a city, and having
you're trying to make the parallel to the hero's welcome at the end.
Yeah.
I think it should be way more somber than that. Way smaller. Because also I see her school. Mm-hmm. I think should be right there on Tatooine.
Yeah.
Right. So right outside of Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
So it's not a big city.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a city that probably even cares much or likes.
Okay.
The Skywalker
the stupid
school.
Jedi temple over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But it's some sort of like small celebration that leaves our character smiling because they were the hero that saved the day. Mm-hmm. To hand the thing back to Rey and sort of bow a little bit. Mm-hmm. And for her,
and big enemies are still out there and probably going to be coming for them.
Yeah.
It's not just negating Force stuff. This dude has something going on. And I actually really like the not explaining it. Just give him some weird powers, mostly themed around negating things.
Mm-hmm. So like when the jet wash of the Millennium Falcon taking off, and it's just that sphere of dust around him. Yeah.
Like literally the burn, like right. Yeah, the burn of it. You just see this sphere of him being protected. So the implication is this dude is a Force user of some kind, but there's a bunch of powers we've just never seen before.
He's just figured out a better, like an interesting spin on any of the powers. Mm-hmm. Dude, I like your idea of the bag, so negator, and then throwing the lightsaber, and then our Jedi just like force pulling the kid back to him, like across rescuing him out from the sphere of the negator. We gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually really like the lightsaber changing color. I realize we're and it's things people won't like
Mhm.
because they don't like change.
Mhm.
But I also I choose to believe we're introducing things in interesting ways that don't ruin the past. They just raise new questions,
Mhm.
right? Like, what could change the color like that?
Mhm.
What does this guy have going on? Because actually, I know early on I suggested he's a wild Force user. Maybe that's the case. Maybe he was trained. Who trained? What's going on?
What's going on here?
Um,
I am not a Sith.
and I don't know yet. I think that's as we no, he wouldn't be a Sith.
That's what I'm saying.
That is a
Like,
specific.
yeah.
That's a specific dogma, a specific teaching.
Just like Jedi is a specific
Mhm.
cheating, Sith is a specific cheating. So even if someone even says it or implies it, like, well, like even if it's this, and I because this is Star Wars, you could potentially get away with something like this. If our Jedi character in one of the initial conflicts, the negator says something like, "I will destroy that," like this is the thing, this is the,
Mhm.
and the Jedi saying only a Sith deals in absolutes, and then our negator going, "I am not a Sith," like to be like offended that would even be
Sure.
implied. Like, no, I am not a Sith. Just because the only a Sith deals in absolutes. That's from
and
from the
is
past.
also an like I just want a Poindexter to be there to be like, that is an absolute.
The robot could lean over to Chewbacca and be like,
Yeah.
actually, no, that's an absolute. Think about
So like as I was trying to think, like, what would that robot be like? What it like, right? We don't just want him to be the garbage can R2 model. He's not going to be a little ball model. He's
Mhm.
not going to be. Would he be a humanoid model like C3PO
I think more
or
bipedal.
Elite?
Yeah.
I
think
I always think what
did
if
you
he's
point out
what
to
if he's
me-
almost more monkey like where he's all arms.
Yeah.
He might have little legs, but he's so like he's arms and he like lifts himself because a pilot has to move the stick and legs don't
I
matter
am the
too
better
much.
pilot. I have more limbs than you.
Oh, just has a bunch of limbs.
Yeah.
Like even more than 4 or just,
Yeah, like
just all
a
arms.
freaking arm comes out of his shoulder and like flips a switch above him, so he doesn't even have to look, or she, whatever. Did I point out to you, or did you point out to me that Elite is an astromech droid that was rebuilt?
I believe
to
I
be-
pointed out to you. Someone had. I wasn't so clever that I saw it.
Yeah.
It was pointed out to me as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I would honestly, I think it might be cool if, just for the sake of it being Star Wars and getting callbacks or whatnot, if you had another model of Elite, if Phoebe Waller-Bridges played that character, not that it's L3 again, but kind of like that.
Or, well, I mean, would Chewbacca, because the fate of Leet was to become the astrogation system of the Millennium Falcon. Leet became the brain of the Millennium Falcon.
So take the brain
What
out
if-
and put it in a new body.
Would Chewbacca, quote unquote, release Leet?
Oh man,
into
and
a
then
body
and
like
just
that?
have it Phoebe Waller-Bridges be again. That would be great. As
The only problem is Leet had very strong motivations.
Mhm.
Leet wouldn't hang around to be the pilot for a Wookiee. Leet would go and become a freedom fighter and find
robot justice.
and be the founder of an entire droid nation.
I'm willing to just nah, we're not gonna. It's just not a thing she's into anymore. She's been around for. He in the
hand waving stuff like
in the novelization, there's a small chapter. It's only like 2 pages. The novelization of Solo, when Leet is injected in, it's her final thoughts before she becomes one with the ship, and she accepts that, oh, this is better. I no longer care about my physical form. And sort of just like transcends into being.
I know you're using words like transcend and you're making it sound nice. That would actually be worse.
Well, I think you're on something.
Oh, I find my need for independence is no longer
It's
necessary.
no longer necessary. Well, getting Leet out.
What if they're just not named Leet? Like we could even do a little bit where they're like, yeah, I was this person and I
L4.
was put into this.
I'm L4.
The name hasn't been used, and there's no. Why not Mala?
Oh my god. Oh, that
Or-
would be a
or-
real cool.
Or does the holiday special? Is that canon as well?
No, it's not canon. Like they canonized Life Day, but I don't know if I mean, technically it's on Disney
Or we
Plus
don't
now.
have to explain the name. It could
Yeah.
always be that's what Chewbacca named her.
Yeah.
Never gave the reason why.
And it could be for the fans to go,
Yeah.
do you know why the robot's named Mala? No, I don't. What? Chewbacca's wife? Chewbacca's married
to a droid.
to a droid? Yeah. That's a great idea. Mala the droid?
Her model number is M4L4.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
All right.
the robot's name is Mala. We have Chewbacca, Mala, our main character, and our Jedi. And it's just the four of them. I think that's cool too. Instead of having anything more than that.
I don't see a reason to necessarily expand it more than that, but I wouldn't like if as we built this out, we're like, oh, what if we had another person doing this? I might be okay with that.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Well, in episode 11 and 12,
having our main character get, because the other thing, like you were like, what does our main character do? My first reaction was actually, well, nothing. There are Baron Munchausen.
They're just
they gather all the people who do.
They're
things.
the dude who brings the dudes together. Yeah. Well, for 11 and 12, you'd expand the cast.
Sure.
You would get. There would be episode 11 would be exploring this Jedi, the mysterious Jedi, in just a little bit. Maybe they're not the main character, but much like you split up Han and Luke and Leia, where you got Han and Leia developed on their side quest and Luke developed on his side quest. Episode 11 would be delving a little bit more into who is this Jedi character? What's their deal?
Why would what would our character be going? Well, no, we shouldn't move into what 11 is going to be about.
Yeah, but just as broad, so and 12 would be finally taking down our big villain.
Yeah, who after two. Well, so I'm right off. I'm imagining actually our mysterious Jedi character. He's actually sort of a not a rogue agent, but he's sort of a special agent. He works for one of the governments, probably the New Republic, because why not?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes out and he almost gives himself missions. So he's basically trying to or not even infiltrate, just stop the bad guy. The story advances. The bad guys now put several nations together and is like, nah, now we're going to go on the march. We're going to start taking things over.
This Jedi character is the Jack Bauer of Star Wars.
Yeah, kind of.
That's awesome. The greater good, even at the expense of my own happiness. Let's do this.
Oh, so then at the end of 11, because that's our Empire Strikes Back, it's like the Negator's force has come together and has come to Tatooine and takes the Genesis gun bomb thing. Destroyed the Skywalker school, not killed Rey. I don't think Rey is going to die. Rey and our main character will have fled.
So then Rey is a pivotal main character in the third installment.
Yeah.
She's there the entire time.
And but our Jedi character through 11 has somehow gotten his lightsaber back. They've lost everything, but he got his sword.
And then
the other idea would be to lean into a little bit of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and actually have the relationship between that Jedi, our Blondie character, right? Our Jedi with no name, and our main character, who would in this case be our Tuco.
Yeah,
man, I think Tuco's great. Just a little aside about the good, bad, and the ugly. He's awesome. Like there might be a rift in 11 because the Jedi starts leaning, the Force user starts leaning into his job. Like, I'm gonna do this. No, your happy, warm feelings, they worked there, and we finished it up, and you lived somehow.
Right.
But bigger things are happening here than your little karate school.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
There's a Star War going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware. Plural even. There's Star
Yeah.
Wars happening here.
Yeah.
What if he says that we get the titular line finally in a Star? You have a very myopic look at the galaxy. There are wars in the stars happening. There are Star Wars happening.
If the line isn't delivered exactly how it was,
Sure,
in
I'm
the
tired of
upright
these
city-
Star Wars.
Yes.
We're putting in a canteen scene. There's a cantina scene, and we're just passing some guy, and we get Matt Walsh from to be sitting at a table in some alien outfit, like alien makeup, and he just says, "Sure, I'm tired of these Star Wars."
Yeah. It's so cheesy, but I don't care. I love it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So then we could actually meet characters. So we could take encounters from episode 10, right? Like at one point they encounter a Jedi working for the Trade Federation, or I'm sorry, a Force user or 3 working for the Trade Federation. They have to like fight them off to get through this thing. And then somewhere in 11, because of the way our negator's taking things over, those guys show up again. And then our main characters, they have to actually team up for a thing. Just showing sort of the different political sides, basically changing
constantly
flipping.
Yeah. Does the final battle come down to it all like a big old battle sequence of like the rebellion versus the new empire kind of thing? Is it come down to that again? I mean, we don't have to think about that now, but it's just something. I
think it should. This guy puts his force together, his empire together to crush the resistance, and there is I think seeing the resistance come together, I actually like the idea of all of these force users are on opposite sides in episode 10. In 11 they start sort of trading around, and in 12 because the guy's gotten control and he hates all these force users, like, and he controls most things, they're like, nah, expunge them, like kill them all. And so they're all fleeing, and so they're all seeking refuge
66 them.
Essentially, yeah, but it's no secret. It's no activate the clones to turn on their best friends. It's just
get them.
Yeah, we're done here.
So I think that if we're looking at episode 12 broad strokes, real broad strokes, the final confrontation, I think the ground battle is our Jedi rogue leading the Jedi army, or the Force user army against the negator's forces, right? So that's our ground battle. Or that's our main conflict, right? And then the personal conflict is the negator versus our main character. And maybe Rey, I don't know what Rey's involvement is in that final sequence, but
yeah,
I don't want
to introduce an emperor.
No. I think there is I am the emperor. I am the mastermind behind all this.
Do we Obi-Wan her? Do we have the negator kill her and she goes Force Ghost?
Maybe if we're going to kill her, then she's going to die in the second one.
Why not the third?
I guess it could be in the third. If we want to subvert the expectations.
To kill and then Force Ghost immediately.
Yeah. I suppose if we
or what would her great sacrifice be, right? Like Obi-Wan's was to make time for Luke to get away from Vader. And so that's why he disappeared in the robes. Luke's great sacrifice was to project to the red white planet
to let the rebels escape. Right?
Yeah,
the Kratos planet.
What would her sacrifice be? I don't just want to. Well, what if it's the reverse of projection? She does a thing where basically she starts in the fight. But if it's in, you're right. Maybe it is in the second one. To give our characters time to get away, she gets into a duel with the negator, and her force power is strong enough to resist his negation. Yeah. Or at least at this point, right? Because she's healed up. She kind of gets what this dude's about. And what he does is he's still very strong. And so like he literally tears away her living flesh until she is nothing but a force ghost projection type thing.
Having them like pushing at each other, like if they're distance apart and they're just like pushing towards each other, and it's just like almost just their two powers pushing against each other, where she's just trying with all her might to force push him and just attack him with the force, and he's pushing back against that, and they're both just like trying to take two magnets and shove them together, and they're both taking steps and the ground's cracking below them, and the idea of her physical form becoming an astral form in the midst of this, and our main character having to watch this happen,
Mhm.
He's like, Ray, stop. She's like, go, just go. Right. Like that's, and then having her like, we don't see her blow apart and she vanishes. We see her physical form leave and she keeps pushing forward.
It's,
Right?
until just like the blue
Yeah,
form.
she's just blue. And the Negator's like, what are you? Like just all that force power versus all of that negation until the main character does like get away and she kind of takes a moment to go and just
okay. Yeah. I like that. That's actually that feels very satisfactory. Or what at the super good, but what
no,
if?
that's fine. That's fine.
I actually really like that relaxes and goes.
Yeah.
But what if instead she actually is able to reach out and either stun him or like knock him out, or like what if she actually almost even enters him?
Oh, like she touches, like she gets close enough to touches his chest or whatever. And he's like, or like touches his like temple.
Sure.
And he's like, and he's still like pushing against her. She's a force spirit now. And he's like, ah. And then he, I don't know, erupts of sorts, just like, and like collapses to the ground. And then you get her breath of like,
yeah. And she disappears.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a cool moment too. That's red.
Yeah.
That's red lightsaber cool.
It is. That is. I think that's it. I think that's the one.
And
so now we got the end to our episode 11.
And having the main character like, no, and then hearing Rey saying, run.
Sure. Yeah.
So we get that immediate force ghost like Obi-Wan. And so the main character goes, and then we have our sad conclusion to 2. And then 3 being main character versus the Negator. What's tough there is that it's sort of an anti-force user versus a non-force user. Like, what is that final conflict? And I wonder if
do we lean into them becoming a force user?
No. I think it's more. I think the cleverness of think of the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian has all these tricks that are not force powers. So to see the main character have figured out all these non-force tricks that we maybe in the 12th one we see hints. We saw hints of it in 11, but in the 12th one, constantly we see this trick being used here and this trick being used here and this trick being used here. So we can get into the final confrontation. It's like, oh, I have a blaster bomb, and it's like Star-Lord's little like magnet thing.
Right? Like, and now I have you dead to rights, but you didn't see me drop the thing, the detonator behind you.
Yeah. But if we go back to if we go back to 10, where it comes to a physical.
Oh, what if like that's how it like the whole thing starts? They're all setting up this ceremony. We meet our main character, and he's supposed to be sweeping up or something, but he's doing little magic tricks for a bunch of kids, and they're like, "Whoa, you're a force user!" Like, no, it's just
from the very beginning, we show that it's magic.
Yeah.
He's using hocus pocus.
Yeah.
So that if 10 ends with the Negator and our main character having a fist fight, essentially.
Oh my God. He just does a hand trick where you see him holding the Genesis thing, and he does a thing, and then it's not in his hands, and that just makes the Negator mad.
Where is it? But in 10,
he just Slater-handed it away.
Yes. But if it's a physical fight, like it's not a weapon fight, and it's not a power fight. It's literally a physical fight.
Sure. Well, because up until this, we still don't know what the Negator's powers are, other than to negate powers. Right. So, it's going to be a fist fight, and you're this kid. So then he's obviously a seasoned fighter. Yeah.
So then in 12, it's a freaking Bruce Lee, John Wick, Jackie Chan fight, like in the Star Wars universe. I think of the way Jyn Erso fought in Rogue One. That's not up there anymore. Shurit, when he's a non-force user using his stick to fight the stormtroopers. A fight like that to final. We have Jedis versus
in 11. You're saying
12. The final battle. The final battle.
So the first battle is a fist fight against our main character. The second one is it's the fight with Rey,
right?
And the third one,
all the tricks like to get face to face with this guy, and it's like how this fight went last time. It's not going to go that way this time, and then it's Star Wars
It's all
kung
the
fu.
tricks. Is it just him, or does our Han Solo Force user
No, I think our
Is
Han
he-
Solo Force users on the ground, leading the
dealing
ground
with
force.
dealing with other villainous,
Yeah.
iconic villainous
And-
characters we have yet to introduce?
And Chewbacca and Mala are handling the space battle of the third movie.
Sure, I like that.
Is this the one we're going to write for the finale? We're going to.
Oh, geez. It might be.
We'll let
Are we-
we'll let the
yeah.
listeners decide.
Yeah, I'm liking this. I'm liking this a bunch. What I would want to do through 10, 11, and 12, because again, we're gonna have a bunch, yet not much lightsaber
Mhm.
stuff. I don't want. I want to do something even new, even beyond what all three trilogies have done so far. I feel like 4, 5, and 6 was very samurai, very stand still, studying movements, 2 or 3 quick moves back to 1.
Mhm.
1 through 3 was way more flurry type stuff. It was not Wing Chun. Wushu sort of inspired.
Yeah,
I'm using the wrong word.
Much
But
more.
there's actually specific martial art. It was supposed to look much more like, but very kinetic, very very movement. 7, 8, and 9 were somewhere in between.
Mhm.
Honestly, the place I want to go is there was a internet thing that I saw put together. I think someone said they were all like Sith moves, but I actually want to see the Force used a lot more with the lightsaber. Like all of the moves that were diagrammed were things like the Jedi throws the lightsaber behind their opponent.
Oh, you show me that.
And
That-
turns it on, and
Yep.
like all kinds of things like that.
All those moves.
Like all kinds of lightsaber tricks.
I want to see our
throughout-
Jedi do that.
Oh, are that any other guy who has a light? Yeah, that's
All the cheater moves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
all over the place here. Yeah, that's mixed in with a little bit of standard swordplay.
Yeah. That sounds like a cool Star Wars movie to me.
I think so too.
Yeah, we leave enough open. There's some questions that weren't quite answered, like what's the backstory for our Jedi?
I feel like this is just 10, and that's all we really need to do here.
Yeah.
But I really feel like into 11 and 12, I know we said shouldn't go this way. I think our dude might be putting an evil empire together. Here's why I'm okay with it though.
Okay, I'll let you have it.
Because he's building it.
Mhm.
We're watching him build this
Yeah,
thing
instead of it just existing.
instead of it existing, or seeing him build it through freaking filibustering. Like we see it actually be formed through the alliances and battles that he partakes in.
He is playing the longest chess game ever, where our negator is putting this favor here and this favor here and this favor here. And one of these days,
And
I'll
it's not
call
about
upon you.
manipulating your perception or anything. Like it's not about force choking you to do what I want you to.
Oh, and even worse is that though the Empire always crumbles, the Republic always crumbles, that the whole idea of uniting the galaxy is a bad thing in the long run, there still is that period of peace. And despite the fact that the negator is basically linking all these favors together to pull all the strings at once for a moment, like even if we go to 12 and have
that's a good. I don't think it should be a Palpatine all at once. I'm in control of everything. It's no. I'm kind of the head general. Like I've become the head general of this group. We've dominated this sector, so now we control that. We're gonna make a treaty with you and just kind of absorb. Like over
listen,
the movies, we see him gobble things up rather than do a magic trick
and
or already possess it.
Sorry, I'm like
sorry.
But in the final conversation between hero and villain, there is that like, what have I done that was so bad? You realize that if I do this and what I've done here, here, and here, there is peace in the galaxy.
Yeah.
So why do you want to stop me?
You killed my brother.
All right. Well, I think we've got some fun here. Any final thoughts before I want to wrap this up here?
No, I like this story.
Is this a good episode 10?
I think so.
Like at least, even if it's just
I know we did just big beats and stuff.
Well, it's good. I think we got some like nuance in it, like some little moments of like, oh, that like
sure.
But But as far as like taking without erasing, we can't erase what exists.
Nope.
We can't erase canon.
We have to play into it.
We have to build off of it.
And I don't just want a history repeat itself.
Yeah.
Type thing, or at least not in the same way.
Yeah. There's certainly having Chewbacca come back, having the Millennium Falcon there. There's some like, hey, member berries, you can eat some of these and you'll be fine. But let's try to play. The reason the Mandalorian is fun is because it's not exactly what we've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
The reason Solo and Rogue One are fun, yes, they are good movies, is because they're not the same old thing that we've gotten before.
Yeah.
Anyone who wants to bitch about Solo, it's like, just get over the fact that it's not Harrison Ford. Now, form an opinion.
Honestly, I initially wanted to introduce the four-armed alien from Solo.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to say another one of those aliens, but making him the pilot. That's what they were in Solo. So I don't want to introduce one of them to do the same thing.
John Favreau voiced that guy.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
But yeah, this was fun. I think this might be something we have to return to.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. But for now, I think I want to wrap it up.
I think
here.
it'll partially depend on the reactions.
Yes,
that people then send to us.
Which is why where I want to go right now. So let's end the episode here. I think that will do it for now. But this is something that we can continue having we're going, once we're off mic here, going to continue to have the conversation here. But we want to know how we did, because a dozen of you at least have sent in Star Wars demands. Please let us know how we did. Hit us up, agree, disagree. Let us know what we missed, what we failed at. We know it's Diadem.
I'm telling you,
it's
duodenum.
Duodenum.
flow, force powers through the duodenum.
Let's do some social stuff here. You can find us at studiodemands.com, where you can send us a demand. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Studio Demands It. So like, subscribe, and if you want to give us a review, you can do it right in app on Apple Podcasts. And I think this season I'm going to start reading people's reviews because we've gotten a few up there. So if you want to hear your name on the show and not demand something from us, please feel free to give us a review. Like and share, send this to your friends, what have you. So it helps the show more than you know. You can find me, and if you want to reach Jim, you can get them through me as well, at TC's Big Head on Twitter and Instagram. A huge thank you to 6.5 Media for continuing to give us this such a fun opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
We're glad to be back. We have some fun stuff ahead this season. I can't say what, because we don't pick the demand till the night of, so I can't tell you what's coming ahead, but I can assume, based on the hundreds of demands we've been sent in, that we've got some fun ones to choose from. So thank you for that, and we look forward to the rest of season 3 here. That's it for this episode. We'll be back again soon, a challenge to improve the world of cinema. I am TC.
I am Jim.
And
may the demands be with you.
May you force us to do things.
And may the things be with you too.
Modernalorian is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The fact that there is no spoof of the Modernalorian is something we need to remedy right now.
And
this is the way.
Yeah.